Oi, punters. The oil and gas industry must think we are a bunch of idiots. Are we? So the scams that Woodside, Chevron, Santos are pulling on Aussie punters continue. Let's start here. Chevron plans to leave oil platforms in WA waters. For what purpose? So that they don't have to spend any money on cleaning up? Oh, no. It's part of their plan to convert it into artificial reefs. Thanks. I did a small amount of Googling. Turns out the oil and gas industry have been trying to skip out on their responsibility to clean up their own mess for quite some time. So let's go back just a couple of years and introduce a company called Woodside. Heard of it? You have. If you're Western Australian, you have. They run your state. So in 2015, Woodside had a bunch of aging oil platforms that it sold to a small company named Noga, N-O-G-A. Now, at that time, this company had no experience in offshore oil and gas extraction. Sounding a little bit sus? I think so. Long story short, this company that had no experience failed a series of safety inspections and therefore has ordered to cease production. Well, if you're an oil company that can't produce oil, not a great business model, is it? So it's unable to remain afloat and was put into liquidation, meaning it's going broke and bankrupt. Now, here's the problem when a company with an offshore oil rig goes broke. It has no money to clean up its mess. How convenient. So, punters, who do you think is left on the hook when a company conveniently runs out of money and can't afford to clean up its own mess? Well, guess what? With no one willing to buy the faulty vessels, regulators, aka the government, decided to put the Australian taxpayer on the hook. So we are the ones that had to pay to clean it up. So Woodside Drills makes billions of dollars in profits consistently for 20 years, sells conveniently to a company that has no oil drilling experience. That company goes broke, and then therefore, oh no, we have to clean up the bill. So the profits have already been taken, they've disappeared, and we taxpayers who got not much in taxes, next to nothing on royalties, are left to clean up the mess from these corporate bloody tax bludgers. So how much was it? It's cost the taxpayer around $210 million, probably more, probably less. This is very complicated, so by all means, fact checks welcome, citations necessary in the comments below. But essentially, we taxpayers are on the hook to clean up this mess. Now, someone more cynical might think Woodside did this on purpose, purposefully getting a company that would go bankrupt in the event of needing to decommission it, and therefore that's exactly why they did it. According to Michael West, Callum Foote, these journalists here, and Peter Milne, Woodside has been accused of dumping its oil rig into a $2 company to dodge the big tax cleanup. Now, other companies look at this and go, that's smart. That's a great idea. Why don't we have taxpayers pay for our stuff so that we can keep all the money for ourselves? Well, Exxon looked at it and tried to do the same thing. So Exxon had lined up to sell 23 of its platforms. Weirdly, the government learnt their lesson. So there's some good news for you punters. Governments can learn their lesson if enough people pay attention, and it can cost them politically. Exxon had lined up a company to buy its platforms, and Exxon had to make sale documents and schedules available so that the government could look at it. And Minister Pitt said to Exxon at the time, we will be closely scrutinizing any transaction and ensure expectations were met. And they said, you, Exxon, will be on the hook if the company you sell to does what Woodside did. And lo and behold, take a look at this. 15 days later, after that letter, ExxonMobil abandoned the sale that it had announced. Oh, would you look at that? They decided, oh, actually, we can keep these running for a little bit longer. Hey, that's a really good idea. So corporations will do anything that governments let them do. And if good journos aren't paying attention and we punters aren't paying attention, then these scams can run over and over and over again. Now, the Woodside scam that I spoke about before ended up costing taxpayers a total of $362 million that we were left on the hook for. All right? Once again, I don't know why the government doesn't retrospectively go, oi, we now realize you scammed us. Give us that money back. Or you can not operate here. We can do that. We make the rules. We are the referee. If we are getting scammed, we, the government, can stop it. Corporations will do whatever the hell they can get away with. And if we, the taxpayer, is going to be left with cleaning up Australia's oil and gas industry, it will cost an estimated $76 billion all the way to 2050. And you know what? Given the governments we have, given how absolutely weak they are and controlled by the oil and gas industry, my prediction is that we bloody will be on the hook for $76 billion. We should be getting $76 billion a year in income from selling our stuff to these companies, but we don't. Instead, we're on the hook for $76 billion. So why, in pure economic capitalist logic, why the hell do we let corporations come in, destroy our environment, take our gas, not pay tax, and leave us with a cleanup bill? We end up worse off for having them here, despite all the propaganda they tell you that it's better, that we need them. We don't need them. We have the resources. They need us. And then, which leads me all the way back to the start. Chevron plans to leave oil platforms in WA waters. So they found another loophole. They've gone, geez, it's expensive to get that out of the ocean now that we've made all our profit. Who's going to pay for that? Well, we might have to pay for it. How do we make it cheaper? How about we just dump it in the ocean? Oh, that doesn't sound environmentally friendly. Artificial reefs. So when we're paying attention and when the government wants to, we can control this dirty, disgusting, exploitative, scamming behavior by these corporations. It can be done. And there's an example of when it actually was done, because Exxon were about to do it again. But to the government's credit, it learned its lesson. So take that as a little bit of good news in a sea of oil and gas scams that I just can't escape. Every day I think I'm going to make a video on something else and then another oil and gas scam pops up. So cheers to the mad punts over on Patreon that support me, keep me doing what I'm doing. Share this with a punter who you think might not know these scams are going on, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Cheers, punts.